Okay, guys. In this class, I want us to implement search features and also how to run dynamic routing. If you look here, I have a dummy images of RoboHash, using RoboHash as my dummy image. And I want to implement features like search, like I have images on different fruits and mango, grapes, strawberry, and so on. Then I'm using RoboHash as images, okay? So you're free to also do this using, if you already have images, you can use them in your public directory. I'm going to implement this using Next.js. So it has a search feature, like if I search for AP and it's going to bring out search like apple, grapes. So wherever AP is matched, to bring out that, okay? And it's also looking up for the name using their botanical name. Like if I say something like NA, you can actually see that NA is in banana, but I have NA in botanical name for strawberry. And this is also having dynamic routing. Like if I click here, it will open more information about strawberry. I can actually read that here. Okay, you can see my this thing going from localhost 3000 to that. And if I click, you can also see. So we can also deploy this on Vercel or Netlify using this Next.js. So let's get down to it. Okay, back here, we're about to start, and I already have my fruits category. You can actually see this is just an array of objects. I'm going to zoom my page so I'll actually see that pretty much well. Okay, so I have that here, and can see my arrow of fruits telling me I have apple with a botanical name, the season they're coming, and image. So I'm using RoboHash images. So if you want to just know how RoboHash works, if you go to robohash.org, robohash.org. So if I'm on RoboHash and maybe I want to get a robot image of maybe my name Frank, I just type Frank and I hit enter and we see an image of that. So if I want to get image of anything, maybe a cherry, I hit enter, it will give me a RoboHash image of that cherry. Okay, so that is what we are going to be using for this. Okay, also know that I've already configured it in my next config.js file. Okay, so if I'm using a link like this for my images, I have to configure it in next.config.js. So if you go to next.config.js file, you can see where I configured it. Okay, so that is very easy, giving it a module export by robohash.org as a host name, and the path can be anything / anything that I put in there. So if you are not using a remote image, okay, like there's no need for you to do this configuration. It's only needed for remote images. Otherwise, if you're using an image that is in your public directory, you can easily call it up there. All right, so let's get started with our page.js file. So I'm going to minimize this when I need it, so I'll be able to make use of it. So my page is just displaying page now, which is the default thing I should be having on my page, showing me this is just page. Okay, so I say this is just page. Further that this is just a page. So I'm going to see that displaying on my browser. This is just a page. Okay, so this is just a page. Is that okay? We'll be styling this using Next.js again to restyling. All right, so now I'll start off by trying to map through this array of objects. So probably to get the name of the objects, and that is it. Okay, so I can map through this array of objects by saying something like const, and say const fruits, can call it fruits list, can say const fruit list to be equal to fruits, can say fruits dot map, going to map through it, fruit dot map, can call each one fruits, Okay, where, okay, each one fruits, and just hit enter, and maybe H2 for now. I'll just say H2, and so just get me fruits dot name. So I'm going to put curly brackets and curly bracket there because I'm writing JavaScript fruits dot name. So when I look through this, so each one is now fruits, and I'm getting fruit dot name, which is going to give me apple, okay, and banana and the rest of them. All right, so fruit dot name, and this is not going to display until I return it. So this is just what this guy is doing here. So if I come here and in my return statements, I decide to, so please return fruit list. So I'm going to have fruit list to be returned there. You can see that fruit list is now good. So that is going to display all the fruits that I have showing me here. All right, so but is this just the only information that I want to get from the fruits? No. Okay, so probably I want it to be much better. I want it to have a section, and I can just put this because I can only return one. So I want it to give me the name of the fruits. Probably I should start with image. Okay, so I'm going to use image. I'm going to import image from next image. So know that this image component is it has a lot of advantages why I should be using next image. It is highly optimized. It gives you a lazy loading effect that images are not loaded until you are on the viewport. Okay, so I'm going to write lots of code, so I better minimize this so we see this much better. So the source of my image, I'm going to give it a source. Okay, the source of my image is going to come from having this thing here. So that is fruits.image. So that's where my source, the source of my image is going to come from. So I'm going to have fruits.image. Okay, fruit.image. And for next, I should always provide an alternative name, and definitely my alternative name, I'm going to be using fruit.name. Let me use fruit.name as alternative name. Okay, fruit.name. And I need to provide a width for the image, and it should be fine for me to, let me just do 300, and the height also to be 300. Otherwise, it will be prompting me to provide those basic information. Okay, so let me just be sure that I have this displaying now. I can actually see it. They're actually displaying now, and that is fine. All right, so, and even though Next.js doesn't insist on this, I know very well that core React applications insist on it. So it's always good that you provide a key. Okay, and my key is going to be like fruit.id. I have an ID key inside my fruit. So I'm going to take it to be fruit.id. Okay, so what other information do I want in this? So apart from this, I also want it to probably another H2 to give me the season, which is fruit.season. Okay, fruits.season. Okay, to give me the season. And I don't know, do I have any other information that I would like here? Also, the botanical name is fine. So I can also provide the botanical name after this. So H2. And I will say fruits dot botanical name. So dot botanical name. So it will be nice if I can do this like this name. Let me just put it that way. Botanical name. Botanical. I could have put inside a span season. So it will appear quite better. Okay, so at each point I have to be seeing what I'm doing to be sure that I'm actually getting something right. Okay, so and my return statement is pretty much giving me this. So I can actually have a H1 here, and so say I can call it my favorite fruits across season. My favorite fruits across this season, across the year. So I can call it my favorite fruit across the year. So that will actually just be there. Okay, so it would be nice if we can better style this. So I have a section here and I have triangle. So I can actually turn this section into an article. I can just call it an article. And it actually behave like I'm trying to do an article. So I can have this wrapped within a section. So I can say section here, and I can have these fruits wrapped within it. Okay, so if I want to do my basic Tailwind CSS, I can actually give it a class name. A class name, probably I want it to display as a grid, okay? And I can say grid code 3, which will actually just make it to be a grid code. And I have to give a gap, probably a gap of 2 is fine. So I'm expecting it to actually apply this way, okay? So that is fine for me. All right, so I can put up, go to this place and inside the article, give it a class name, and I can implement something like probably give it a border B, you can say border B 4. So border, maybe I want the border to be orange. I'll say orange this, and maybe I want it to be rich. I can say border rich, border double, dotted, stuff like that. So that should be able to give a border around. Okay, I just did border big, which is only giving me a border at the bottom. So I want a border around it. Okay, so I have that looking like that. So I can just give it to be rounded LG. So that will be rounded. Okay, so I can just bring everything to the center. Maybe also give it a padding, especially at the y-axis to be like 3. And let me just hit Alt Z so things can come down if I'm writing them. And for this very image, I can flex it. I can give it a flex, and I can say flex should be cool, flex cool. Okay, and item should be in the center, item center. It's justify also to be in the center. So can have things looking much better. Okay, fine. I think they're much better like this. And if I want the image to look quite much better, I can also implement that. Okay. So, but that is not totally our aim, but we have got it going well. And the H2, the H1, I can go into the H1 and give it a class name, probably padding it to be 4, and text center. I want it to be center aligned, and I want it to also be uppercase. Okay, so I mean, and then text font bold. So can have a better font looking much better. Okay, so the size of the font is not good enough, so text 3 XL. So make it bigger. Okay, so that is fine. So I need this to be a link in such a way that when I click on it, it should take me to somewhere. So going back to where I have this. So this entire thing from this image part should be a link. So I'm going to import link from next link. Okay, so you already have it here. I click on it and automatically it's going to be imported. I'll close it. So I'm going to push it down using Alt arrow down, which pushes it down. Okay, so okay, fine. I think I just have to stop it there. All right, so let's see whether it's a link. Okay, fine. I need to provide href, like as if I don't know. Okay, so href. Okay, so let me assume my href is just taking me to nothing. So just slash. So meaning that I'm just going to slash it. Okay, so if I click on it, it does nothing. It does nothing actually. It does nothing. Okay, it does nothing. So, but it's a link. So I want it to be a link that when I click on it, it should take me to a page where I'm going to read more information about this. Now, by static routing, I could have created different pages for this and then I route them, okay? But imagine if you have so many products like this, how are you going to be creating a static page for each and every one of them? Okay, so that is not how developers work, and that is very wrong. Okay, so what I will do is to implement dynamic routing to this. Okay, for me to do dynamic routing, I need to create a slug. My slug can be, I can call my slug anything. Okay, so to create my slug, I can come inside the app directory, and I can use an ID, create a folder. Okay, create a folder, and this is the best way to do dynamic routing, especially when you are using app router. Okay, if you're using page router, it's different. You have to import use router and all. Okay, but app router is being recommended for you to do. So I can just put an ID. This is called a slug. When you create a folder that has the name of the folder is in square brackets, it is called a slug. Okay, so inside this log, I'm going to create my page.js file. So I'm going to call it page.js. Okay, let me just do RFC here and just I can just call it slug page. All right, just call it slug page. So coming back to my normal page where I have this. Okay, so I'm going to change the link. All right, so my link will now be square bracket, and I'm going to say slash. Okay, I will use dollar. Well, let me say fruits.name. Fruits.name. Okay, dollar fruits.name. Okay, so when I click on it, depending on the name of the fruit that I click on, it should take me to the slug page fruits.name. So when I click on this, it's going to take me to the slug page. You can see it taking me to the slug page, and it's going to slash fruit.name. Okay, so anyone I click on, I will actually have it taking me to the fruits.name page. Okay, all right. So next thing we have to do is go into our slug page and implement routing very well there. Okay, so in our slug page, which is just this, let me just delete this. I don't really need it. So first thing is I will really need these fruits here. I really need these fruits, which I'm actually using here. So I have to insert an export keyword on these fruits. I have to give it an export keyword so it can be exported, and I have to import it here now. So I can say import in square brackets fruits fruits from this. So you can see it's already directing me there, and that is fine. Okay, so I'm importing fruit from there, and that is actually very nice, because how am I going to, assuming that I fetch this data from a JSON file, I will need to write a function where I can fetch this data. I have already done a video on that anyway, but this is pretty much easy when you don't have when what you just have is this, so it makes life quite easy for you. Okay, So I'm going to allow my function to take params. So my function is going to take params at this point. Okay. So I'm going to allow my function to take params, which is actually it's called params. So my function is going to take params. Okay. So and I'm going to look at data now. I'm going to look at each, like write a function that will find these fruits where something matches my param. Okay. All right, fine. So I can say const, I can call it anything, sure, but let me just call it data. Okay, const data will be equal to fruits, these fruits that are imported, fruits dot find. I'm going to find I can call it fruits anyway. I'm going to find fruits, that is each one of them will be called fruit, where this find guy behaves like filter. The only thing is that filter returns an array, find does not return an array for you. Okay, so I say find fruits where fruits.name, okay, is similar to or the same thing as params. It is something as params dot id. It is something as params dot id. So this is actually going to find that for us. Okay, find fruits where data, find fruits where fruit dot name is the same thing as data dot id. So I can actually come here and say slug of so it will return an object for me because each member of these fruits is actually an object. Okay, so I can say give me return data dot name. So I can say slug of data dot name. Let's see whether that works. Okay, so if I click on this and refresh my page, you can see slug of apple, slug of apple. So when I click on this, this is slug for banana, and my job is definitely done. Okay, when I click on this slug for orange, and that means I can bring in every other slug for grapes, and so on and so forth. So I mean, my slug is working, and it makes it pretty much is a slug for pear. Okay, so I can go to my slug page now and remove this slug and try to bring in things better. Okay, so all right, so my data is functioning fine, and that is it. So I can actually return, let me make a data return statement, and this should be like, probably this should be a main. Should I put it in? Okay, so let me just give it a div. I've been using a div for the way. So still continue with the div, and can return 2, so it has to be 1. And probably this should be like a h1. Since I'm inside another page, so I'm free to create another h1. So my h1 should be the name of the fruit, and the name of the fruit is data.name. So I can say give me data.name. Okay, so data.name, and then let me remove this. Okay, so this should be another H, this should be H2. Okay, so and instead of having name, probably season. So give me data.season and data.botanical name, botanical name. So this should go up anyway. So season should go up. Okay, that's down. So data dot, so this should actually be a paragraph. I can put in a paragraph here, and I can say data dot description, so description. Okay, so so if I click on each one, this is not bring. Okay, fine, it's coming out now. And if I just click, I can see more information about each one. And if I can, so it is actually done, right? So, but let's style it much better and make it to look much more appealing. So I can give a class name here, a class name, and probably text center, slash down, text center. That's give me to be in uppercase. and maybe border at the bottom, border B, border B, border B red. Can I use reds? Being consistent, let me just use orange. Orange, border B, border, border B. Orange, not press space bar. So orange, so border should be border B 4. Let me give it 4 or Z, so it can come down to see what I'm doing. So padding at the top, at the bottom, BY, or probably 4 or more. So we have that. So I have to give this guy a name. So this has to be name. You can design it much better to feel it should be season, and this should be description. So I'm going to I just want to use Darwin CSS through here. Oh, I mistakenly closed my my page. I'm going to restart again. Okay, sorry, that's mistakenly deleted something. So I'm going to npm dev. So class name padding at the top, probably 3, and I want the text to be text large, text Excel. Maybe this one should be text large. And I did not give this Z. I did not give this one the size of the text, so this guy has to be text 3XL. So going to refresh my page. I hope this has not killed my local server. So while that is refreshing, let me just go to layout.js and make a little correction. I'm going to change this to fruit app. I'll call it fruit app, and call it routing and search demo, search demonstration. So I can have that. Okay, it has changed. So if I click on pineapple, I can actually see it's pineapple. And if I want, I can bring in the image here. Okay, so not much need for that. The most important thing is to implement the search feature. You can see this information and description doesn't show on the former page. Okay, so I think I have to make this guy to look better. All right, so just a better styling on this. Go to my slug page, and this text, let me put it inside the span so I can actually style them better. Let me put it inside the span. For the maths, and click click paste, Ctrl V. So I just want to make them to be bold anyway. Just give them a class name of font bold. Font bold. So I want the text to be bold so that you can see it is now bold, and that is much better. And for this, there should be some spacing. So I can say class name BX padding at the left and the right axis. So BX4. So I don't have the text being at the sole end like that. Okay. Padding 4. And if I don't want it again, I can reduce the width and say width to be 60% of that width, and margin auto. So I don't want it to take the entire width. Okay, so that is fine. That is much more paddable. Okay, so when I click on it, I can actually have here, and I see, irrespective of how it was written, I can have grips, and I can have it there. So that is simply how you can implement dynamic routing on this a page like this. Okay, so next up is how to implement a search feature. So I can actually search through this, and I can actually make this to be also much more mobile friendly, like implementing where on my page suggests I can actually get the fruit to be. So this should be for a medium screen. So it should be for a medium screen. I can say MD to be that, and then I can say grid col1. So when we're on a small screen, it should have a column of 1. Okay, and then px to be like 2. Pardon, on the left and the right sizes. So that will make it possible for me to, so if I'm on a small screen, you can see it is 1. But the moment I get to a larger screen, a medium screen, it becomes 2. So making it to be mobile friendly. And the same thing I can do to my slug page. My slug page too, I can say that this width is just for medium screen. Okay, for medium screen. Okay, so on normal width, I can make it 5/6. So width to be like 5/6. So that is more than 8% or something. So if I'm on a slug page, okay, so if I make it medium, can see it doesn't take 60% anymore. Okay, it takes that. So that is much fine, and it's just easy for mobile responsiveness. Okay, so we get straight to creating a search feature. Okay, so we are going to use an input search for our search feature. So just immediately after my H1, I can implement my search feature. So I can just create a div where I want this search feature to be. So I can create an input for text. I just select my input for text. So I can call it text, and ID should be text. So all right, so let's just go ahead and style this text and implement it properly. How do you want the text, the input text to be styled? Okay, so that is what we are going to look in next. So okay, definitely I would like it to be in the center, stuff like that. Okay, so okay, let me first give it a placeholder text. I will actually see where this thing search. I can say search for if fruits. Okay, so search for a fruit, and my placeholder text is saying search for fruits. Okay, so I'll refresh. I should have search for fruits here, and this is coming here. Probably I don't know. Am I inside? Okay, I think I'm inside a grid system, which is not what I want to do. So I have to push it up. So I don't want it to be there. Okay, fine, it's here now. So, but I need to bring it to the center here. So, so that is my class name now. I can just bring it there. So, okay, let me just, inside this div, I can give it a class name, and the width of the div should be like, I can give the width of the div to be like 3/5. That is like 60% of what my entire width is. That is like 3/5, and margin auto, margin auto, and I can create a pattern around it. PY, just top and bottom to be like 3. So that will actually create some spacing there. So, but my input is not making sense. I need to remove the outline in my input. So outline should be none. Outline none. So I can remove the outline. So weight should be I want the weight to be 100% of its parents. So can I make it that 100 px 100%? Make it 100% of its parents, and some padding on the top and the y-axis, probably around 3. Okay, so and border at the bottom, can give it a border B of 4, and border B of 4, and probably the border color should remain orange 360. So okay, so I just leave it to be solid, so that is fine. So this is my search feature. You can actually search for something here now. Okay, so search for fruits, and you can actually search for a fruit. So I'll finish styling it, and next thing is I need to create a function that I want to listen to this my search feature. Okay, so the function I want to create, I need it to be changing as I'm typing it. So I'm going to give it an unchanged effects. Okay, so inside the can give it an unchanged. So my input should take unchanged. So can look at unchanged. So I mean we have on click, on submit, and so on and so forth. So I want it to listen to a function called unchanged. So I'm going to create this unchanged function. Okay, so I've not created it, but you already know that functions can be, you can create a function, even you can call a function even before the function is being created. Okay, so that is one awesome thing about functions. All right, so functions allow you to use them even before they're being created. So, but this my input is still going to take a value, but again, if I'm to implement this, I will need a hook. All right, so I will need a hook to be able to handle the change effect for me. All right, so and just before my function, where do I have my function now? Okay, so after my function here, I can actually call my hook. So my hook is what I'm going to use to change anything, to change whatever that is happening within my page. So if I want to implement change or manage states, it's called state management. Okay, I have to use hook to manage states. That is changing something within the state. This is a state. Okay, I want to change this state the way it is happening. And change is not defined. Fine, I know. I want to change how this is happening, whatever that is happening here. All right, so I will need a hook. So to do a hook, what you need is to declare it. Normally we declare with a constant, and I can call the hook search item, and the hook are normally two. One is the initial value of the hook. Two is what you will use to change the initial value. Okay, so by by convention, when you have a search item as a hook and the function that you use to change it is always called set search item. Set search item. So, and this is a use state hook. Use state hook. So use state. I call it use state. So you can see use state has been imported from React. You need to import it. And what I have here is the initial value of my state. Initial value of my state. So this is going to form the value of my hook. So I'm going to allow my hook to be search item. Search item. Okay. So let me assume that this thing is not here for now. Okay, let's say this is not here for now, so that my page can display search item. Okay, use state. You're importing a component that requires client component. So I need to declare at the top of my page that this is use client. So because the client app now, by default, Next.js is a server-side application. So if I'm doing anything that is client-side, I need to indicate use clients at the top. It doesn't change anything, okay? But yeah, so my page is displaying now. So you see, I can't actually type anything because I'm not allowed to change this initial value, because the initial value is nothing actually. But if I say that the initial value here is grep, okay, so I will have grep displaying there. I will have grep displaying here. Okay, so you can see grep is displaying here because that is my initial value. Okay, and I'm using that value as my search item. So I want that value to change when typing something there to be on change. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do next. All right, so I'm going to bring out this because I will be needing this function. Okay, Control/ to bring it back. Okay, fine. My page will still declare an error for me. So I will still have to leave this to be an empty because I don't want to have a default text there. Otherwise, something is going to be displaying by default. Okay, so well, let me filter this. Definitely, what we'll be doing is to filter our page based on the search that the user includes there. Okay, so I can say const filtered, can call it filtered item, okay, to be equal to filtered item. So my filtered item is looking at my fruits. Remember my fruits array. Okay, my fruits and my fruits, and say fruits.filter, fruit.filter. So I'm filtering fruits. How does this filter method really work? Okay, probably I will need to illustrate it a little. Let me just illustrate it. I know my page is giving me an error. I've not completed that. Okay, so let me illustrate it a little. And if I have an array, I can call it an array of probably numbers like this, like this, like this. And I want to filter my array by values that just multiple of 2. You can say array.filter, I can call each value x, where x modulo 2 is the same thing as being 0. Okay, so this is actually going to filter 2468 for me. Okay, just imagine if I had used this on find. Find will just return 2 because that is just the first value, and it doesn't return it as an array. Okay, that is what we implemented when we were using the slug. All right, so but this will return an array for me. So whatever that this thing is going to filter for me is going to be an array, meaning that it is this array that is returning for me that I'm meant to look through again. Okay, so back to Visual Studio Code. Okay, filter. So I'm going to filter this, so I can call it item. I can call each one item. I think I've called it fruit a lot. So item. I'm going to filter item where item.name. You can say item.name. Of course, each of my fruits has a name. Item.name. Item.name. So I have to be careful. So because in case somebody is typing, the name is written in, I think the name is written in Kamek, in capitalized. The first letter of each one is capitalized. So, but I just want everything to be in lowercase. You can see starting with capital letter. So you know that if I do something like this, back to my terminal, to my console again. If I do something like this, if I say Apple, whether it's the same thing as Apple. Okay, let's say a user types that, it's going to tell me false. It's not the same thing. Okay, so these are case sensitive. So I have to bear that in mind when I'm doing that. All right, so am I again? So where apple.name dot to lowercase, I have to change everything to lowercase, okay? Whether it is the same, oh, come on. Whether it is the same thing as what the user is actually giving me, okay? Whether it's the same thing as whatever the user is giving me, okay, let me not even say whether it's the same thing as user is giving me. I can say includes, okay, whether it includes search item, that is the item the user is giving me now, search item, whether it includes search item dot to lowercase, because I want to convert whatever the user is typing to lowercase. So let me just use Z. So yeah, we can actually see that well. Okay, so filtered fruit is okay. This represents the item I have in my list, okay, dot lowercase, whether it includes whatever the user is typing. So includes will return true or false. That is, know that filter takes anything that returns what? Conditional statements, okay? So it's going to return true or false, not just because it's returning true or false for me, but filter returns an array, but it takes a conditional statement, okay? So, and I have to now write my function, okay? My function, let's just make it a normal function, that is fine. So function on change, I think we still call it on change. Okay, so now it will not pop out an error again. So on change is going to take E. Okay, so I'll just give it E as what it's going to take. So what is it returning at the end of the day? Set search item. I said it that set search item is this hook. I'm going to use it to change the value of the hook. So set search item to what? E dot target dot value. Can simply see E dot target dot value. Remember your vanilla JavaScript. I mean, this makes lots of sense. And we have actually created that there. Okay, so that is it. So that is it. I think we are done. Mhm. Okay. All right. But all right. So I'm going to move this guy, this my fruit list to, let me just cut it out. I want to move it after my function here. So that's not going to change anything. So now it actually means that my fruit list is not going to go to fruits again. Okay, so I want it to go to filtered fruits item. All right, so that is fine. Okay, so we go back to our browser and we try to type Apple. Fine, you can see it is working immediately because it's on change. I don't need to hit enter or submit anything. So if we have a form, I would have done it on submit. So if I'm typing app, so if I have this, so AP and I'm having pineapple, you can see it, I have it here, and apple. So, and I would also like this to map to the botanical name too, just in case someone types the botanical name. So, so uh, from here, I can actually duplicate from here like this. Okay, so I can copy from here, like, and then I will put or, which is pipe. I use pipe to do that, Control V. So instead of saying dot name, I can say dot botanical name. So whichever one that matches or item dot botanical name matches. Okay, so if I say en, you can see I have en in the botanical name of strawberry. Okay, so this is happening. All right, so whichever one the person sees. Okay, see why. So nothing really happens when I type something that doesn't exist. That is just one thing that we need to, one last thing that we need to correct. All right. So how do you want this to happen when someone tries to search something that doesn't really exist? Okay, fine. So we are going to just implement that by including, so our fruit list is actually mapping this. So let me assume that how am I going to do this? So if I'm to assume that if what the user searches does not exist, okay, in my fruit list, what if the length is 0? Because this is actually an array, okay? What if this fruit, something that the person searches is 0? So what do I want it to do? All right, so I can say if filtered item dot length, the length of the filtered item is greater than 0. Okay, if it's greater than 0, I can just use template literal. If it is greater than 0, do this. This is what I want you to do if it is greater than 0. Else, if it is not greater than 0, okay, which ends here, the code ends here, you can see if it is not greater than 0, please just do this for me. Okay, so probably I just put that in. Okay, so display, I can just say display h2 um item search not found, search item search item search item search not found. Okay, item search not found. I can even give the person a link to return. Okay, I can actually put a link there, a link. I can just bring in a link. You can say return to home. So my home is going to have a href equal to slash. So item search not found, return to home. So if the person clicks on that, you're going to return to home. So let's try to search for something. So item search not found. I click return to home. And okay, return to home is not really taking me there. Oh, come on. Okay, so let me try it again. Supposed to item search not found, return to home. I need to really refresh. Okay, but that doesn't really matter. It's supposed to be taking me back there, probably because I'm using localhost. All right, so that is it. And I can just tie this to give it an underline. Okay, just give it a class name, text blue, text blue, or text orange. Orange, I don't know. I've been using orange all the one. Orange. Okay. Text orange, underline, underline. Text orange and underline. So can actually have that there. If it doesn't exist, just take me back. So an easier way to take me back is just for me to backspace. Okay, so I can make it much more better by giving it a class name, item, okay, not item, text center, padding maybe 4, and uppercase, okay, and then text Excel, text to be Excel. So that is fine. So if I search something, we actually see that text Excel. All right, item not found. All right, so that is it. So it takes me there. All right, so guys, that is easier way you can implement that. You can actually see how it works, and that is very fine, and that is very more direct. Okay, so we can now deploy our work to Vercel. So I can just stage everything by going to my source control. I can stage all. I can now give it a feature. I call it implement search on and dynamic routes and dynamic 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 routes dynamic routes. So I will just commit and push to Git repo. So I've actually committed. I'm not sure if I did commit and push here, so I'm not so sure. So let me just kill this page. Control C. Yes, I want to kill it. And let me run git remote flag v. I don't remember whether I have a remote repository. Okay, I have a remote repository already, so I can say git push. I would have done it from the I would have done it from the VS Code, from the source control of my VS Code. Okay, so I have it there. So simple, I can just navigate to Vercel to host. I can simply navigate to Vercel, and then I can just easily host my page on Vercel, and can go to, can see other pages that I've hosted here, and can just add new projects. So demo rights. Can just put right here. So I simply deploy. 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 So I simply dep the next app, and I will have the link to the application. So once successfully deployed, I will just have the link to the application. And so guys, that is it. I will just put a link to this on the description in case you have any information or any question, endeavor to also ask me, and that is it. All right, so meet you in the next.